What's up, everybody? Welcome to the video. Chris Pennell here, breaking down the Auto Trader EchoPark Automotive 400 at Dover, the Monster Mile, and we are finally back on an oval. No disrespect towards SVG. He is very, very good at his job, but I am tired of the road courses, and I'm tired of watching SVG win 2 races a weekend and qualifying the pole 2 races a weekend. Again, he's very good, but back to the ovals, because that's what NASCAR is about. And if you're new here, what's up? My name is Chris Pennell. I break down NASCAR DFS each and every single week on this channel. Videos on Saturdays, live streams on Sundays, planning for around 1 p.m. Eastern, so be there, be square, always a good time. And if you do enjoy today's video, do me a favor and leave a like down below. Scott Champ, brand new. Let's dive right into it. All right, let's talk some strategy here for Dover. We're gonna have 400 laps this weekend, so yeah, dominator points are pretty important. Now, we are using a new tire this weekend. No one's actually done a tire test, so practicing qualifying should at least give us a good idea of how the tire is going to wear, how it's going to react to the surface. But we do know Dover as a higher tire wear track. Now, it is pretty unique. It's a concrete surface, and it's like a steep bowl. That's all it is. It's kind of Bristol's bigger sister, bigger brother, whatever you prefer. Although it's not the exact same race style, but we do see a lot of drivers that are good at Bristol tend to be pretty good at Dover. And if you want to look at some other tracks, you could add in Nashville because it's a concrete surface, although it's not quite laid out the same at all. And then we also have Darlington, asphalt surface, but it's steep, and we do have tire wear. And maybe if you want to stretch it to Homestead, another high tire wear surface, and it's also steep. So we're kind of pushing it a little bit there, but like I said, we don't have much to work with. And really just in general, I would look at how drivers have performed at the intermediate tracks this year. I know it's a smaller track, but I don't think there's going to be too much drop off. All right, so I'm going to show you 3 figures this week. The first one we're looking at is a pretty small sample size. It's only 3 races, and it's the Dover races we've had in the next gen era. So 2022 to 2024, we only race here once these days. And if we're looking at the top, it should be no surprise. Denny Hamlin just tends to crush concrete tracks. He was very close at Nashville, although Ryan Blaney stole the show. Bristol earlier this year was the Kyle Larson show, but either way, he's at the top here for Dover. Does have a win. Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, very good Dover for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why, but Hendrick cars tend to run well here. Chase Elliott has a win in the next gen era. Blaney's also at the top, which I believe, back in the day, Dover was not the greatest track for Ryan Blaney, but seems like he has just been improving year in, year out. And especially this year, it seems like he's taken a leap. I'm not going to call it Dover an intermediate, but at the intermediates this year, we have seen Ryan Blaney just been an absolute rocket ship. And he is also our most recent winner at a concrete track, which does give me confidence for this week. And specifically at higher tire wear tracks in the long run, I would probably say Ryan Blaney, from what I have seen, has been by far the best car. Kyle Busch, even though he is washed, kind of high on the list as well. And then we get Byron, Buescher, Kyle Larson. And I lied, I think I'm only going to show you 2 this week, because if we do a third one, it's going to just basically be an overlap of this one minus some Homestead races. But if we look at the tracks that I mentioned earlier and look at the sample size, since 2022, like I said, Denny Hamlin should be at the very top there. He's good at all the concrete tracks. He's good at Darlington. He's good at Homestead. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Kyle Larson's also at the top. They're kind of definitely in their own tier. That's going to reflect in the Vegas odds this week. And honestly, the Vegas odds reflect the next 3. So it looks like we're kind of hand in hand there. They're looking at the same data that I'm looking at, so it all makes sense to me. Bell is up there. He's been very good at Bristol. Ryan Blaney's also up there. Chase Elliott, William Byron. Then there's a bit of a drop off. So you have that tier 1 of Larson Hamlin. The tier 2, I would say, Bell, Blaney, Elliott, Byron. And then we kind of get into that tier 3 where it really starts to cluster up. And finally, moving on to the driver by driver breakdown. But I do mention one thing first, and that is, of course, if you want to join the best NASCAR DFS community out there, you gotta let me do my plug, guys, and feed the dog. It's a free video, so you can't complain. But link down in the description or the pinned comment for the Patreon. And if you are a new user, you can sign up completely free for a week and test drive all the tools that I have to offer. I won't mention everything on here because that's going to bore you to death, but if you want to pause or a screenshot, be my guest. But you will not find this amount of data available anywhere else for this price tag. And the tools that I have to offer, the DraftKings and FanDuel Optimizer in-house. And I cover trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series. And you also have the DraftKings Contest Simulator. We can set up to 10,000 lineups at once, and you can tailor-made it to whatever kind of contest you're in, whether it be cash games, tournaments, large field, small field, whatever it may be, there's something there for you. And we still have baseball in full swing, which I cover every single day, and NFL coming very soon. Preseason, I do not cover of the regular season in a month, and been revamping the NFL sheet and the models, some tools for that. We'll now have the NFL game dashboard and simulations as far as optimal ownership percentages and things like that. So a lot to look forward to in the coming months. All right, it's the next day, and practice and qualifying unfortunately did not conclude. We ended up getting rained out for both sessions, which is kind of awful for this weekend because we are debating a new tire. And it would have been really nice to get some practice data or even just some hot laps on the track for qualifying to try to understand what is going to happen on track on Sunday. And unfortunately, we are not going to get that. Now, we will probably get the competition caution around lap 25, lap 30, which is going to be pretty much the practice session for these drivers. Unfortunately, though, this is when it counts. So if there's any catastrophic issues, they can put you in a major hole for DFS purposes. So just throwing it out there, we're kind of going in dark. So if you want to play lighter, that's up to you. If not, totally fine. I cannot tell you what to do with your money, but it just makes things a little tough because I would have loved to see how this tire performed over the course of a long run. Is it going to completely shred like we saw at Bristol a couple of years ago in the spring, or is it not going to wear as much? It's still a high tire wear track. So I just would have liked to see which drivers don't fall off in the lap times as much, but unfortunately, not going to get that. So we're gonna have to kind of rely on what we've seen at. The problem is there's not many similar tracks to Dover. It's pretty unique. You can kind of look at Bristol, but not so much. You could look at Darlington, maybe Homestead, a steeper track with higher tire wear. That might be pushing it a bit. So kind of in the dark, unfortunately. So it might make more sense to kind of rely on maybe these more so hybrid plays, just because we don't know how these drivers are going to perform completely. So we'll go driver by driver, break it down the best we can without this practice data. And keep in mind, these qualifying spots are not earned this weekend. It's just the lineup formula from the week prior, plus the other weights that they add to it based off, I think, fastest lap, driver's points, amongst other things. So this 5-figure range, it's actually a big group this week. We have 6 drivers, 3 of them with place differential, well, 2 with place differential. Denny's kind of a hybrid play. And then you have 3 guys in the top 5. Now, I will tell you right now, I ran some preliminary projections because it's very easy to do so when you don't have practice data for it to read or qualifying data, and it loves the top 3. Loves Larson starting in 25th, it loves Hamlin in 13th, and it loves Ryan Blaney in 31st. Not saying guys like Byron, Bell, Elliott, even Reddick don't project well. They're still pretty high up on the board, but when you can get somewhat similar dominator projections from drivers that are starting outside the top 10, even outside the top 20, a little bit less than Hamlin, but you get that extra PD. They're projecting amazing. So I think in cash games, at least from an early look, I'd probably want 2 of those 3 drivers. And I could see a lot of people just going the Larson Blaney route to lock in those place differential points for drivers we expect to probably contend for a top 5, if not get up front at some point. Now, if we're looking at how they performed at Dover, it's a small sample size. We kind of already looked at this as a strategy, but Denny Hamlin's been amazing. He's always good at concrete tracks. Ryan Blaney used to not be very good at Dover, but he's definitely gotten much better. Even gotten some dominator points and has ran well. And also Kyle Larson, pretty good Dover. And if we're looking at similar tracks, Larson, Hamlin, pretty much lapping the field here. Of course, everybody that's expensive is pretty much good at these tracks. That's why they're expensive, and it's not rocket science, but really do like these 3. I mean, I'm still going to play these guys in tournaments, and if I was going to play one, it's most likely going to be Chase Elliott because he's in the pool. He's got the easiest access to dominator points, and he's also good at concrete tracks and very good at Dover. Has the best average finish, tied with Ross Chastain here at 3 sample size in the top 5, 2 out of 3 races, and also has a win. So for me, Elliott, and then these 3 look really good right now. Byron Bell, although we tournament plays, I mean, you don't fade him completely, but if I'm playing single entry, I'm probably not drawing myself to them immediately. 9K range. Looks like we have a couple other guys up front, Chase Briscoe and Tyler Reddick. Briscoe's been really good. They were pretty spotty early in the season, and I hate to say that because it's kind of been a weird few weeks with the road courses. We had Atlanta. He won Pocono. It was a fuel mileage race. Not like he was horrible in that race by any means, but I don't think he was the best car. Starting in second, I feel like he starts in second almost every week. It seems like somewhere in the top 5. They've been really good at qualifying. Doesn't have the best track record at Dover, but you got to keep in mind he was not in a JGR ride. He was in a Stewart-Haas car, and it's kind of what you'd expect, really. So he could be a pivot off of Chase Elliott, but with probably the pit stop coming after the competition caution, things get bunched up. I'd say it's less likely he leads over Chase Elliott. I know it's $1,000 more. Just don't feel super comfortable with it. Tyler Reddick kind of in the same boat. He's like, Tyler Reddick's basically the same thing as Byron and Bell. You know, he's like that second tier potential early dominators, but by that point, maybe Hamlin's already up there. We'll see how quick Blaney and Larson can move through the field as well. The guys that I assume I get to the most to are the ones with PD here. Ross Chastain and Alex Bowman, both very good at Dover. And if we're looking at track record here, it's only 2 race sample size for Bowman. Don't forget he had the back issue, but in this 2 race sample size, he has been awesome. This has always been a really good track for him for whatever reason. Just Alex Bowman runs well. And then Ross Chastain also very good at here at Dover. So I like those two in the 8K range. Everybody else is kind of just very iffy. Without having practice data, I mean, pretty much the only thing I can do is, well, Chastain and Bowen are both good here. They have some PD. I think it's kind of as simple as that. Busch has also been pretty good here in next gen, but not elite. Did lead some laps at some point. Buscher's all right. Like, these guys are okay. I mean, they're going to run fine. It's just a matter of starting 8, 10, 12. That's not going to be amazing for DFS purposes. Like Carson Hocevar, starting in 33rd. We're finally at an oval so we can play him again. I have plenty of interest in Carson Hocevar. He's had top 15, top 10, top 5 speeds at times at these ovals. So I would take that all day at $7,700. He will be a cash game staple. Brad Keselowski is basically the same thing as Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, and Logano. Without having practice, without having qualifying, I cannot just sit here and say, yeah, we have a huge edge on these drivers starting next to each other, because that's just not the case. We don't know how they're going to unload. So the unfortunate case is that I can only say they're pretty much the same thing. You get a little bit of extra PD with Brad, so he has that working for him. And if this ends up being a bit of a tire wear race, which it should be at Dover, that can work in his favor as well. Ty Gibbs has ran pretty well at Dover. It's only a 2 race sample size, but been in the top 15 both times. Does have a top 10. Small sample size though, so I hate to put too much into it. He's definitely been running better than he has been in the beginning portion of the season, where that was absolutely awful. But strictly just term and plate, I'm going to say the same thing. It's Kyle Busch, it's Chris Buescher. It's right in that range. He is one of many. Austin Cindric does offer some PD upside. For looking at his Dover numbers, they're not anything impressive at all. Usually around 25th place. Does have a top 15, but nothing really screams to play Cindric besides the PD. I'd rather just cough up the extra $500 for Carson Hocevar personally. Like, you can play Cindric, it's fine, but I mean, do I really want to? Not really. Ryan Preece, I would have loved Ryan Preece if he started anywhere else. 11th is just kind of makes it tough. I think he runs right around the top 10 most of the day, which is what he has been doing. He's been really good this year. Just been a top 10 machine, but strictly only for tournaments there. I'm going to say it. He is these 3, Keselowski, Gibbs, Preece, even Josh Berry. I mean, it's really hard to differentiate when we don't have any practice or lap data to look at. Although I will say, Josh Berry on long runs this year, when the tires wear, like Ryan Blaney, has also been very good. 2 race sample size at Dover, and this is not when he was in the 21 car. And I would say this has definitely been a bit of an upgrade. He's been in the top 15 each time with the top 10, so I actually do think Josh Berry looks like a pretty solid turn play. I guess I'd have a kind of a slightly on playing him over guys like Ryan Preece, Ty Gibbs right now, maybe even Brad Keselowski personally. I think Josh Berry might be an interesting tournament play. AJ Allmendinger in 17th. Not a lot of love there. Like, he's okay. He'll probably run around 15th, 20th. I'd rather play Josh Berry personally, but SVG, no thank you. You cannot play him. If this was last week, sure, not. Once we go to the ovals, though, SVG pretty much goes out of our lineups, unfortunately. And then we have some PD here. Bubba Wallace, Eric Jones, Ricky Stenhouse. Stenhouse, back in the day, we used to play him quite a bit on the concrete tracks, but starting in 34th at $6,200, I don't need too much convincing here. I will be playing Ricky Stenhouse. Average running position here of 12th, has a top 5, 2 top 15s, average finish inside the top 20. I will play Ricky Stenhouse all day at this price and the starting position. And Eric Jones is fine too, so is Bubba Wallace, but I think I'd rank them probably in reverse order of what you were seeing right now. Michael McDowell and Daniel Suarez, I don't think I'll be getting to at their starting positions. I'd much rather play the 3 above them. Dropping down to the 5K range, I think we kind of have a clear-cut play in Noah Gragson starting in 36. Not that I envision him running top 15 by any means, and he's going to wreck at some point. You just have to hope it's not too bad. But if he can just find his way to 25th, which he has the ability to do that starting in 36, we will take it. Does have a top 10 run here in 2 races at Dover, so we will give him that. And if we're looking at similar tracks, usually around just outside the top 20, which if Gregson at this price tag for where he's starting finishes just outside the top 20, you will be ecstatic. John Nemechek's also viable. Zane Smith, Basically, these three look good. I don't really see too much below that piques my interest. Haley starting a bit high. Todd Gillen, it's like, I'll just play Zane at that point. So yeah, if you can, I would really just try to stick to these three. And then the 6K range, it's like Barry and these three, I think are pretty much comfortable with. With that being said, that's all I got for you guys this week. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, or even if you didn't, make sure you leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel for brand new. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or check out all the extra content over on Patreon. In order to find that link we found down below. Wish you all the best. I'll see you on the live stream tomorrow. And I'll see y'all next time.